Yingabeal, the river red gum at Heide. BIRRARUNG, by Jim Poulter.
Aboriginal people believe that anything with a form or a shape has a spirit of its own. You only have to stand in front of the massive 500-year-old river red gum at Heide Museum of Modern Art in Berlin to know this is true. It was obvious to the earliest settlers in this area from the 1840s that this was a special tree, not just because it was scarred by a bark canoe having been cut from it, but also because local Aboriginal people often congregated there. The land on which the tree stands was eventually bought by artists John and Sunday Reed in 1934. They opened their home to like-minded artists such as Sidney Nolan, Albert Tucker, and Joy Hester, and this gave birth to the present-day Museum of Modern Art. This stately tree stands in Heide's upper car park at 7 Templestowe Road in Berlin. Standing at the tree, you can see that a couple of hundred years ago, a 4-metre-long piece of bark was harvested to make a canoe. The precise year this was done can't be determined, but the month certainly can. In the 9th lunar month, which occupies all of August, the sap starts to rise in trees. This means they give up their bark more easily, so August is also Aboriginal bark harvest season. This also precedes the October rains and the annual flooding along the Yarra Valley, so this is when new canoes were needed. Harvesting bark in August also gave the tree the greatest chance of survival, so it could begin healing before the heat of summer. These scars are almost always on the southeast side, which was also a deliberate strategy to ensure the tree's survival. Most of the heat of the day in summer is from the north and west, while the desiccating winds are from the southwest and northwest. Since the Upper Yarra Dam was built in 1956, the Yarra River no longer floods as significantly as it used to, and red river gums suffer from not having their feet wet each spring. But this tree is in obvious good health and houses colonies of birds and bees. This is because the gardeners at Heide regularly soak its root system and trim any dead wood. The height of the scar on the southeast side is about 4 metres. The width of the original cut has been reduced by the bark slowly growing back over the scar. However, about halfway up you can see, by the way the tree branches grow laterally, that its growth was interrupted. This is probably caused by a lightning strike about 200 years ago. When this happens, the sap instantly boils and the tree explodes as if it has been hit by a bomb. This is not just a canoe tree, it is also a songline marker tree. Aboriginal people composed songs recounting the various natural and man-made landmarks to help them find their way, even in unfamiliar territory. These are known as songlines. As far as I know, the longest songline in Australia stretches 3,500 kilometres from Uluru to Byron Bay. It was also celestially coded into the constellation movements and would have taken over 4 months to complete the distance one way. Marker trees come in 4 types: scarred, ring, arched or spiral. Yingabeal is a good example of a scarred marker tree. A ring marker tree is where 2 branches are tied or spliced so they fuse and leave a hole like the eye of a needle. An arched marker tree is where 2 saplings are fused to grow from 2 trunks into a single trunk. Such trees usually mark a birthing spot. A spiral marker tree is a genetic freak, where about 1 in every 20,000 trees grow with a spiral grain. These corkscrew trees were only allowed to grow on songlines, and because they were useless for timber, settlers rarely cut them down, so they can often still be seen along our highways. Yingabeal is, however, no ordinary common or garden scarred marker tree. It marks the junction of songlines going in 5 different directions. One leads west over the river ford near the Heidelberg Bridge, then splits off to songlines along Greensborough Road, Bell Street and Heidelberg Road. One leads south past Billabong and on to meet the Doncaster Road High Street songline. Another heads southeast along Manningham Road to Westfields Doncaster, where it joins the Doncaster Road Mitcham Road songline. The fourth heads east along the high floodline route of Templestowe Road. The final songline follows the meandering northeast course along the south side of the Yarra from Melbourne to Healesville.
About Jim. Jim Poulter is a local historian with an interest in Aboriginal history. His family have lived in the area since settler times, and they have an established relationship with the local BIRRARUNG. This article was read by Rebecca Rose.
James Pointer.